Have you ever wondered what truly lies beneath the surface of your daily moods and reactions? What if you could tap into the hidden power within, reshaping your attitude to unlock not just fleeting happiness but lasting joy? This book invites you on a journey beyond your habits and past experiences into a space where self-reflection opens new doors to emotional growth. Together, we'll explore how simple shifts in perspective and attitude can create profound life changes. Are you ready to discover the secrets your emotions are waiting to share with you? Emotional Growth, Unlocking Joy Through Attitude Change, written and published by Awaken Vision. Chapter 1. Have you ever woken up one morning, knowing in your heart that something needs to change, but feeling trapped in a routine that cages your energy and hope? Life can become so patterned and predictable that our spirit feels drained, making us wonder when we last felt inspired or truly alive. The challenge is real for so many, going through the motions, letting days bleed together, and realizing, often with surprise, that you've stopped reaching for moments of joy or personal growth. Yet deep inside, there is a quiet voice that insists things could be better, if only you could find the spark to begin. A sense of powerlessness can build, especially in a world constantly pushing you to be more, have more, and do more. When you're tired, stressed, or stuck, it feels easier to settle into that space rather than to ignite real momentum. The cost of staying this way is greater than we realize. Without an inner flame, without a reason to move forward and bring color to our experiences, life can lose its fullness. You might start hearing your own negative self-talk getting louder, saying there's no point in trying to change. Even small setbacks begin to feel like proof that nothing will ever shift, creating a loop of doubt and discouragement. Think of those days when the smallest disruption sets your mood on a downhill slide, or when a criticism haunts you far longer than a compliment uplifts you. It can start with something as small as skipping a morning walk or forgetting a promise you made to yourself, but the effects ripple outward, quietly dimming your outlook on life. Let's imagine Sarah, who sits at her kitchen table every Friday, wishing she had a passion that excited her, wondering if everyone else is happier. She scrolls through her phone, seeing bursts of smiles and achievements, and it chips away at her confidence, leaving her to believe she's missing a piece everyone else seems to have. Or picture James, feeling invisible in his office, mentally marking days off his calendar until the weekend, not expecting anything new or interesting to happen because he's already convinced the best parts of life have passed him by. Their stories may seem ordinary, but the underlying struggle is universal. Almost everyone faces this challenge at some point, knowing deeply that life could be fuller, but not feeling they have the key. Understanding this longing is the first step in reclaiming your sense of power. It's not a sign of failure or weakness to lose sight of your spark from time to time. Rather, it's human and deeply relatable. The difference comes in how you respond. Do you ignore that longing until it quiets, or do you dare to listen and search for the source? The mere fact that you notice and care about this inner flame is proof that the capacity for growth and genuine happiness is still alive within you. By acknowledging that you want more from your days, that you refuse to accept a life inspired by mere repetition, you are already preparing to start a new, transformative chapter. Together, we'll learn not only what it means to ignite the flame within, but why doing so can light up every aspect of who you are. Igniting the flame within starts with making a conscious decision to pause and look honestly at how you're living now. This is not about harsh judgment, but about self-compassion and clear-eyed awareness. When you dare to notice the patterns that keep your days monotonous or drain your spirit, you begin to understand what is dimming your inner light. Reflection helps you identify your triggers, your habits, and even your moments of inspiration, no matter how small they may seem. Taking even 5 quiet minutes each day to ask yourself what excited or drained you gives your mind permission to observe rather than criticize. Over time, these brief moments plant the seeds for self-discovery and open new pathways for real change. The reason self-reflection is so effective is that it uncovers both your strengths and your needs. When you understand what genuinely matters to you, your actions start to align with your true values. Research in positive psychology shows that people who practice regular self-reflection are more likely to report higher emotional well-being, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of purpose. When you learn to observe your emotions and reactions, you reframe challenges as opportunities. What may have felt like a dead end becomes an open door. Mirroring this in your daily life, just like athletes rehearse their winning routines in their minds before a game, you can rehearse moments of courage, gratitude, or kindness before stepping into your day. This sort of mental rehearsal activates the brain areas involved in motivation and emotional control, making it easier to move forward with intention. Another reason the solution works so well is that self-reflection naturally invites gentleness and patience with yourself. It's not about making drastic overnight changes, but honoring each small step. The process builds your confidence as you begin to trust your own insights and decisions again. You reconnect with the sense that what you do matters. As you notice shifts in mood or small victories, your motivation grows. People who regularly check in with their feelings develop a deeper resilience because they become better at understanding and processing setbacks instead of getting stuck in them. This approach turns what could have been a source of discouragement into a source of personal strength and pride. Perhaps one of the clearest benefits is that igniting your inner flame reignites your hope. Hope is essential for growth because it pushes you to dream, to try again, and to see potential where others might see failure. It gives you the stamina to face difficulties without surrendering to them. When you make self-reflection into a regular part of your day, you'll discover new ways to approach familiar struggles. Even if you don't find solutions overnight, the act of asking yourself questions and listening for your own answers begins to shape your future in a hopeful direction. This method is not a miracle cure, but it is consistently effective. Bit by bit, you start to see your attitude shift and your days become brighter. You learn that lighting up your life doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it starts with a simple willingness to pay attention to your own heart and mind. Slowly but surely, this leads you toward the growth and joy you truly seek. When you embrace self-reflection as a daily habit and consciously choose to ignite the flame within, you open yourself to a world of positive outcomes. Gradually, moments that once felt overwhelming start to shrink in significance. You'll find that your motivation becomes more stable, your optimism more reliable, and your sense of agency grows stronger each day. Your energy begins to shift, fueling your passions and ambitions rather than being consumed by self-doubt or monotony. Relationships improve because people are naturally drawn to those who carry a sense of enthusiasm and genuine self-awareness. At work or in studies, your focus sharpens and your creativity flows more readily, born from a place of authenticity and internal joy. Personal obstacles seem less like brick walls and more like hurdles that can, with effort, be overcome. To begin this transformative journey, start small and give yourself permission to grow gradually. Devote just a few minutes at the start or end of your day to quiet reflection. Ask simple questions such as, "What made me smile today?" Or, "When did I feel drained?" Write down these thoughts or speak them aloud while looking in the mirror. Notice patterns over several days. If you find moments of joy recurring during specific activities or with certain people, plan to nurture these experiences. If a certain situation consistently saps your energy, acknowledge this and begin exploring gentle boundaries or new responses. Imagine having an emotional toolkit. You can reach for gratitude when you need perspective or courage when it's time to face a difficult truth. Begin using this process not as a chore, but as an exploration, something quietly exciting, a new way to get to know yourself better. Let's ground this with real-life examples. Imagine a student overwhelmed by exam stress. Instead of bottling up anxiety, she spends 5 calm minutes acknowledging her feelings and wondering what small shift might help. She might discover that walking in fresh air or organizing her desk soothes her nerves and helps her return to work more refreshed. In a different scenario, consider a professional facing workplace tension. By pausing to reflect each evening, identifying both challenges and small victories, They learn to recognize their triggers and later adapt their approach in future interactions, leading to an improvement in communication and a more confident presence at meetings. In close relationships, self-reflection allows you to catch yourself before reacting to frustration, opening the door to empathy and stronger connections. Even in moments of loneliness or insecurity, you may rediscover past successes or kindnesses, drawing on these as sources of hope for the present. Adopting this powerful habit may seem daunting at first, but as each small step builds upon the last, you will witness real and lasting change. Commitment is more important than perfection. Some days will feel easier than others. What matters is that you continue patiently and kindly to tend to your inner flame. Celebrate every little insight or victory, knowing that growth is not always loud or dramatic, but is often quiet and persistent. Embrace setbacks as signposts rather than roadblocks, and allow your journey to be uniquely yours. As you continue on this path, look forward to Chapter 2, where you will learn how to rewire your thoughts for positivity and take another key step toward emotional freedom and happiness. If you're finding value in these self-improvement strategies, remember to subscribe to Awaken Vision, like the video, and share your reflections or suggestions in the comments to help us create a community dedicated to growth and transformation. Your story and voice matter, and the journey you are on is more powerful than you may realize. Chapter 2. Have you ever caught yourself dwelling on the worst-case scenario before it even happens, or replaying small mistakes in your mind until they overshadow every good thing in your day? For many people, negative thinking becomes a background noise so persistent that it starts to shape not only your mood, but your outlook on life itself. These negative patterns are subtle, creeping in quietly during stressful moments, tense conversations, or unexpected disappointments. Left unchecked, they can make optimism feel forced or unrealistic and slowly cut you off from new opportunities, stronger relationships, and joy. Recognizing how thoughts quietly influence each day is crucial because thoughts are the seeds from which attitudes and actions grow. If a mind is left untended, filled mainly with doubts and fears, it becomes much harder to see beauty, hope, or possibility, even when it's right in front of you. This challenge is so common that some even view negativity as simply being realistic. But there's a difference between preparing for life's difficulties and locking yourself into a habit of expecting the worst. Imagine Tom, who always fears making mistakes at work. Even when his projects succeed, he focuses on what didn't go perfectly, missing the praise, growth, and progress along the way. Over time, he starts to dread new tasks, believing he's always one step away from failing. Or think about Mia, who regularly compares herself to others on social media, convincing herself she's falling behind in life. She interprets every quiet weekend as a sign she's missing out or not achieving enough. It is important to understand this cycle because unchecked negative thinking can reinforce feelings of anxiety, low self-esteem, and helplessness. It shapes how you interpret each event, sometimes before you even notice. The brain's natural tendency to watch for danger means negative experiences often stick more than positive ones. Over time, this focus on what's wrong carves deep grooves in your thinking patterns, almost like a path worn through a forest. The path taken the most, thoughts of worry, regret, or inadequacy, becomes easier and easier to follow. Recognizing the pull of these patterns is the first step to changing them. Yet it's also vital to see that no one is powerless in the face of negative thinking. While you can't always control the first thought that pops into your mind, you can learn to pause, observe, and gradually replace it with something more balanced and helpful. Science shows that the brain, with practice, can adapt and form new pathways, making positive thinking a learned skill rather than an impossible dream. Knowing this is powerful because it means your story isn't written in negative ink. There's still room for brilliant hope. As we prepare to explore the ways you can rewire your brain for positivity, know that you are not alone in this work. The path is challenging, but it's also deeply rewarding. With open eyes and a willingness to try, anyone can start to turn the tide, moving from old patterns of defeat into a more joyful, resilient, and empowered frame of mind. The process of rewiring your thoughts for positivity begins with increased self-awareness. To interrupt and eventually transform negative thinking, you must first notice it as it happens. This doesn't mean policing every thought, but gently tuning into the inner commentary running through your mind. Sometimes this commentary sounds like, "I can't do anything right," or "nothing ever works out for me." When you catch these patterns, you create a moment of power, a pause in which you can choose a different path. This first step is powerful in itself, allowing you to recognize that thoughts are not facts, but only interpretations shaped by past experiences and current mood. Once you're aware of negative thought loops, the next step is to consciously challenge them. This involves gently questioning each thought's accuracy. If you barely spoke during a meeting and later feel you were uninteresting, ask yourself what evidence really supports that belief. Working through these questions shifts your mind from automatic reaction to intentional reflection. Cognitive behavioral research shows that this shift helps retrain the brain to break cycles of anxiety or pessimism. By asking, "Is there another way to view this?" you add complexity, often realizing situations are not as black and white as negative thinking would have you believe. The mind is remarkably adaptable. With practice, regularly redirecting your attention from unhelpful thoughts to more compassionate or constructive alternatives helps build new neural pathways. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's natural ability to change and adapt through repeated experiences. When you intentionally focus on the good, even something small, like a smile from a stranger or a finished task, your brain grows more familiar with those positive roots, making them easier to take next time. Gratitude and self-compassion are two especially effective approaches in this process. Regularly recording what you appreciate about yourself or your day, however minor, shifts the underlying tone of your inner voice from critical to encouraging. Over time, this creates a more hopeful worldview, not through forced false positivity, but through honest recognition that every day offers reasons to feel capable and grateful. This solution is deeply beneficial because it empowers you to take back control from patterns that once felt automatic or inevitable. It does not ask you to ignore real problems, but instead helps you to approach them from a mindset of possibility. Studies show that people who actively practice positive reframing are more resilient in the face of adversity and experience greater life satisfaction. Building this habit leads to the development of emotional agility, an ability to be present and steady even when life is unpredictable. It's not that challenges disappear, but that you become better equipped to navigate them from a place of inner strength. The journey starts with simple pauses, gentle questions, and a willingness to replace old thoughts with new ones, even when it feels awkward at first. Like learning any new skill, rewiring your mind for positivity grows easier and more natural with each attempt. Step by step, positive thinking can shift from something you have to force to something that arises spontaneously. Each moment you choose self-compassion and a brighter interpretation, you give yourself a gift, the freedom to build a life fueled by hope and real, sustainable happiness. When you make the habit of rewiring your thoughts for positivity part of your daily life, you begin to notice positive changes in both your outlook and your experiences. Stress feels less overwhelming, and you build inner confidence that helps you face new challenges. Everyday setbacks start to lose their grip on your emotions, allowing you to recover faster and focus on solutions rather than problems. Relationships often improve because optimism and self-compassion tend to spread. People are drawn to positive, supportive energy, and you naturally feel safer and more at ease in your interactions. Even your productivity at work or your ability to concentrate while studying gets a boost, as your mind is no longer weighed down by constant negativity. The satisfaction that comes from seeing setbacks as lessons and opportunities rather than as proof of limitations brings a sustained boost in motivation and hope. To put this new approach into practice, start each day with a few minutes of intentional reflection. As soon as you notice a negative thought, pause and name it without judgment. If something difficult happens, practice asking yourself, what else is true about the situation? Is there a silver lining or a skill you're gaining through the experience? Keep a small journal or use a note-taking app to record any progress, from minor moments of gratitude to larger shifts in mindset. When negative self-talk appears, counter it with a simple phrase like, "I am learning and growing," or "This challenge will pass and make me stronger." Give yourself permission to celebrate small moments of progress, such as feeling calm after a stressful conversation or noticing something beautiful during an ordinary day. If you slip up or find yourself returning to old habits, remember that change takes time. Allow yourself to start again, treating each setback as a valuable part of the journey rather than a failure. These habits shine brightest when you apply them in real-life situations. Imagine a student overwhelmed by fear of disappointing their parents. By pausing to reframe the thought, the student could focus on how each effort is a step forward, or remind themselves of other successes they've achieved before. In a workplace, someone tempted to worry about a single mistake can use self-compassion and honesty to accept responsibility, learn from it, and move forward unburdened by shame. Within a relationship, choosing to recall a partner's strengths and good intentions during an argument rather than jumping to criticism helps strengthen trust and reduces conflict. At home, choosing to find gratitude for a peaceful morning or a completed task, no matter how minor, serves as fuel for a hopeful, more balanced mindset. Adopting these tools and approaches is within everyone's reach. Growth comes from persistence and self-kindness, not from perfection. Even on days where progress feels invisible, each small, positive choice makes it easier to see yourself and the world around you differently. The practice of observing, challenging, and reframing your thoughts acts as a guide in every area of your life, strengthening both courage and compassion. Trust that the process itself is enough to move you forward, and celebrate each win as proof that change is not just possible, it is happening. Looking ahead, Chapter 3 will guide you in cultivating resilience and gratitude, further strengthening your foundation and helping you stand strong no matter what life brings your way. If you're inspired by these ideas, don't forget to subscribe to Awaken Vision, click the like button, and share your insights or suggestions in the comments. Your voice and your growth are valuable to this community, and your next positive step is just waiting to be taken. Chapter 3. When life deals you unexpected disappointments or challenges, do you find yourself struggling to stay strong, or do you notice that even small setbacks linger in your mind long after they've passed? Many people experience this sense of fragility when setbacks arise, feeling as if every obstacle chips away at their positivity and drive. Even after a run of good days, a single criticism or unfortunate event might knock you off balance and make everything seem bleak for a while. The problem is not that problems happen, it is that difficulties can feel outsized, leaving us feeling powerless and unsure of how to recover or move forward. The walls of discouragement can quickly close in, dampening motivation and making daily life feel heavier than it really is. Understanding the difference between going through life's storms and actually growing stronger from them is essential for lasting happiness. Everyone faces setbacks in relationships, goals, work, or even personal self-worth. Some people, though, seem to bounce back with surprising ease, finding ways to regain their optimism and see value in the struggle. What sets resilient people apart is not an extraordinary capacity to avoid pain, but an ability to trust their strength and adapt in the face of adversity. Resilience is not something only a lucky few possess. It is a quality that anyone can develop with focus and intention. When you recognize your own patterns around setbacks, are you quick to give up, judge yourself harshly, or dread the next bump in the road? You reveal a valuable opportunity to change your outlook and your approach. Let's consider the case of Samantha, a young woman whose recent job search has been filled with rejection emails. Each one stings deeply, feeding her doubt and making every new application feel pointless. She replays what she might have said differently in interviews, or wonders if her skills just aren't enough. The weight of frustration grows, and soon it feels easier to give up than to continue. Or take Peter, who faces frequent arguments at home and struggles to feel appreciated. Each disagreement towers in his memory, overshadowing the kind words his family does offer. Over time, Peter's patience thins and resentment builds, leading him to see only what is missing. These examples are not about weakness, they are about being human. It's normal for pain and disappointment to shake your confidence, but if you want to feel less controlled by every hard moment, it is important to study this pattern honestly and take charge of your response. The truth is that life cannot promise smooth sailing, but you can absolutely build up your ability to recover, learn, and move forward each time you're tested. This is resilience. Equally vital, though, is the habit of gratitude. Gratitude acts as a counterbalance, teaching you to shift your focus from what's wrong to what's right, even when trouble circles close. Resilience empowers you to stand back up. Gratitude lifts your gaze so you can see the sunlight despite the clouds. As we move deeper into this chapter, remember, setbacks are invitations to grow stronger, and every moment of gratitude lights the way forward. With the right perspective, even life's storms can bring you new strength, clarity, and hope. Resilience and gratitude are like two strong pillars holding up the bridge that gets you safely across life's rough waters. Building resilience starts with shifting your mindset from avoidance to engagement when adversity strikes. Instead of seeing setbacks as personal failures or misfortunes set against you, try to view them as learning experiences or stepping stones. Psychologists describe resilience as the ability to adapt optimistically when life changes unexpectedly. This means recognizing that facing challenge is inevitable, but how you respond is within your control. With each test, you develop emotional muscles. Those muscles grow stronger every time you frame difficulties as opportunities to learn, rather than as reasons to abandon hope or effort. Even asking yourself simple questions, such as, "What can I learn from this?" or "How have I managed hard times before?" can nudge your focus from despair toward creative problem-solving and hope. The science supports this approach. Research on resilient people shows that they tend to reinterpret their setbacks through a constructive lens. Rather than ruminating endlessly on what went wrong, they reflect, accept, and then seek actionable steps to adjust their path. This involves allowing your feelings, anger, sadness, frustration, to be felt, but not permitting them to set the tone of your entire outlook. By doing so, you allow resilience to blend realism with hope, finding a path forward even in uncertainty. When paired with gratitude, this powerful attitude creates a healthy foundation for growth and emotional balance. Gratitude at its core is more than polite thank yous. It's an intentional scanning of your life for what is working, no matter how small. The benefits are profound. Studies show that even brief daily gratitude practices can decrease stress, increase optimism, and improve both physical and emotional health. Implementing gratitude alongside resilience transforms your perspective. Cultivating gratitude draws your attention from what is lacking to what is present and possible. You begin to appreciate supportive friends, second chances, and the small daily comforts easily overlooked. This practice isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about honestly naming value in what you already have while continuing to reach for better. Some people find it helpful to write down 3 things they are grateful for at the end of each day, focusing on moments of kindness or progress. Over time, this trains your brain to find goodness even in tougher seasons. The mind grows accustomed to asking, "What was good today?" just as easily as it notices problems. Resilience, with gratitude, is an active process. It means making a daily choice not just to stand again, but to stand taller, with broader vision. Together they keep you buoyed during hardship and rooted in purpose and hope. Instead of remaining stuck in frustration, your spirit has a roadmap for healing, adjusting, and thriving. This solution is so beneficial because it doesn't require life to be easy or painless. Rather, it helps you grow stronger in response to the inevitable challenges and to carry the light of appreciation wherever you go. By weaving these habits into your routine, you begin to sense positive changes deep within. Each setback becomes less intimidating, and each day offers new reasons for hope. Adopting the habits of resilience and gratitude will bring about powerful, positive changes throughout every aspect of your life. You'll find that setbacks no longer knock you down so easily, and difficulties lose much of their ability to drain your energy or shake your self-confidence. Instead, moments of hardship start to feel more manageable. Each one is reframed as a lesson or stepping stone instead of a defeat. With resilience, you begin to bounce back more quickly, your emotional recovery times improving as you realize that no challenge is truly permanent. As gratitude grows, even ordinary days reveal unexpected moments of beauty, making the common moments feel richer and more fulfilling. Your mood lifts, your relationships deepen, and your everyday interactions feel more meaningful, thanks to the way gratitude reshapes your attention toward what is good and growth-oriented. To begin weaving resilience and gratitude into your routine, start small and steady. At the end of each day, set aside a few quiet minutes to reflect. Ask yourself where you showed strength or flexibility, even in tiny ways, and then jot down a brief note about something you appreciated today. If your day was particularly hard, see if you can spot even a single comfort or lesson buried in the experience. This can be something as modest as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a colleague, or a creative way you regrouped after disappointment. If you prefer action, try setting one manageable goal when difficulties arise, such as reaching out for support, practicing calm breathing, or writing down a hopeful next step. Celebrate each act of perseverance and each moment of appreciation, for these are the pillars that carry you forward. These strategies shine in all corners of life. Consider someone on a challenging weight loss journey. When frustration hits after a week with little progress, rather than giving up, a resilient and grateful approach would be to focus on how walking now feels easier, or to appreciate the support of a friend who checked in with encouragement. In study or career, a setback, like failing an exam or missing an opportunity, becomes a powerful lesson when you focus on what you learned about your own study methods or the courage it took to try. In relationships, choosing to see regular acts of kindness or to thank your partner for patience balances out everyday misunderstandings, building a strong foundation that can weather storms. Even when alone, resilience and gratitude empower you to transform isolation or disappointment into chances for personal growth and peaceful reflection. Remember, growth does not require grand gestures or perfect days. True progress comes from consistent small steps, making these practices accessible to anyone willing to try. There will always be moments when it feels as though change is slow or obstacles are big, but even the smallest act of appreciation or effort to adapt will move you forward. Tracking your progress through journaling, sharing with a supportive friend, or simply acknowledging what you survived and what you are thankful for makes improvement visible and rewarding. Stay proud of even modest victories and trust that you are training your mind and heart for stronger tomorrows. As you master resilience and gratitude, you unlock lasting fulfillment, ready to greet each challenge not with dread, but as an invitation to rise higher. Get ready for the uplifting techniques of Chapter 4, where you'll learn to harness the power of perspective, seeing your life from new angles to find even deeper peace and opportunity. And if these insights help you, remember to subscribe to Awaken Vision. Give this video a like and share your feedback or suggestions in the comments below. Your experience can inspire others and shape our growing community of motivated, forward-looking people. So keep supporting yourself and others on the journey ahead. Chapter 4. Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the same event yet come away with completely different feelings and attitudes? Perspective shapes reality more than circumstance ever could, but many people don't realize their viewpoint is something they can actually adjust. The problem is that when you are caught in the middle of stress, it's easy to become trapped inside a single narrative, the story that things will never get better, that others are deliberately making life hard, or that every setback is your fault. This tunnel vision narrows possibilities and keeps solutions hidden from sight. At these times, it can feel as if the world is pressing in from all sides, leaving you stuck, helpless, or going in circles. Grasping the importance of perspective is the first step to regaining your personal power. How you choose to interpret what happens to you influences everything: your emotional balance, relationships, work performance, and even your health. When viewing your challenges from only one angle, it's easy to miss resources or opportunities to grow. Take the example of David, who, after missing out on a long-awaited promotion, begins to see every meeting or feedback session as judgment against him. He starts doubting himself and distances himself from his coworkers, convinced he is less valued. Or imagine Nina, who, experiencing trouble in her relationship, perceives every disagreement as a sign that things are doomed. She focuses only on flaws and misses evidence of genuine caring and effort from her partner. What both David and Nina have in common is not bad luck, but a fixed perspective that limits their experience of hope and possibility. Understanding this dynamic is vital because when you stay locked in a negative perspective, setbacks gain unnecessary weight and your confidence shrinks. The mind becomes skilled at gathering evidence for your worries and ignoring anything positive or neutral. Small issues can then spiral, leaving you overwhelmed or bitter. This mindset can also make your relationships strain under the pressure, as others struggle to meet expectations based on a one-sided narrative. Work, study, and everyday peace all suffer. While it's natural to feel low during difficult times, interpreting everything only through the lens of frustration and defeat prevents you from seeing other truths that might help you recover and thrive. But there is hope in the realization that perspective is not permanently fixed. It's a position you have the ability to examine and shift. With an open mind, possibilities for understanding, healing, and succeeding begin to come into focus. Some of the world's most resilient and creative people share a willingness to look at their struggles from different angles, reframing setbacks as motivation or reminders of what is working in their lives. Recognizing that you hold this power opens the door to less stress, deeper self-compassion, and a life that feels more flexible and hopeful, even when things don't go as planned. As this chapter unfolds, you'll discover how learning to harness the power of perspective can be your secret tool for turning obstacles into growth and seeing more reasons to feel truly alive. Shifting your perspective begins with the awareness that your current viewpoint is just one possible way to interpret an event, not the ultimate truth. Often, your first thoughts or feelings feel like facts, but they are colored by your mood, prior experiences, and even stories absorbed from others. By pausing and asking yourself if another view exists, you break the grip of a rigid mindset. Psychological research supports this. Cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt your thinking and consider different perspectives, strongly predicts resilience and emotional health. When you pause to consider an alternative explanation or try to see the situation through someone else's eyes, you take an active step toward reducing stress and expanding your sense of possibility. A practical way to start is to notice when a strong negative feeling arises, such as frustration or disappointment. Use this as a signal to step back and ask, is there any other way to see what's happening? This process creates a gap between your emotion and your reaction, giving you room to think differently. For example, if a coworker's abrupt words upset you, consider if they could be having a hard day rather than intentionally being rude. Similarly, if a project doesn't work out as you hoped, rather than believing you failed, acknowledge that setbacks are common and may offer the most useful lessons. Over time, making these gentle shifts rewires your mental habits. This isn't about denying your feelings, they're real, but about not letting them lock you into the narrowest narrative. Scientific evidence suggests that repeating this practice changes your relationship to stress. Studies in neuropsychology have shown that people who regularly challenge their own assumptions report lower anxiety and more optimism. Their brains develop stronger pathways for creative problem-solving and self-compassion, allowing them to recover and adapt more effectively. By actively seeking different angles, you lessen the hold of automatic negative thinking and make curiosity your ally. This opens up more choices for action. Instead of feeling trapped by one story, you can choose a response that's more compassionate, helpful, or empowering. The solution is powerful because it puts you back in control of your emotional landscape. Instead of drifting on the waves of circumstance, you become a driver steering your journey. Shifting perspective improves your conversations because trying to see the other person's viewpoint builds understanding and resolves misunderstandings more quickly. It brightens everyday life, as simple events are seen as opportunities, not just annoyances. Even setbacks become sources of wisdom, reminding you that growth often hides in discomfort. This mindset does more than help you weather difficulties. It helps you shape the meaning of your life in a way that is loving, courageous, and open to new possibilities. Above all, harnessing the power of perspective gives you hope on even the hardest of days. It makes solutions more visible, strengthens relationships, and helps you savor moments of unexpected happiness. As you get into the habit of stepping back and reframing what you see, you'll discover an inner flexibility that cannot be broken, no matter what storms arise around you. Embracing the habit of shifting your perspective can create a profound change that reaches into all areas of your life. When you begin to look at challenges from different angles, situations that once brought stress and frustration become easier to manage, and your sense of control and clarity rises. You find yourself less likely to be overwhelmed by setbacks because your mind starts searching for new solutions rather than sticking to old worries. Interpersonal conflicts become opportunities for understanding, as seeking another person's viewpoint helps to resolve tension and build stronger, more compassionate relationships. This mindset nurtures adaptability, reduces anxiety, and fosters optimism, even on days that are far from perfect. Over time, life seems less heavy, and your ability to find meaning and joy grows, planting seeds of confidence that keep you moving forward no matter what arises. To put this change into action, try pausing whenever you notice yourself feeling particularly tense, upset, or stuck in repetitive thinking. Take a deep, purposeful breath and ask yourself whether there might be another story or explanation worth considering. You might be surprised at how this pause opens space for creativity or forgiveness. Write down the situation in a notebook and challenge yourself to list at least one alternative perspective alongside your initial view. For example, if you feel ignored at work during a meeting, your first thought may be that your contributions don't matter. Now challenge that by considering that colleagues could be distracted by deadlines or simply may have missed your moment to speak. This shift, though small, helps soften self-blame and invites a more balanced, less stressful interpretation. In relationships, take time after an argument to ask, what might my partner be feeling right now? Is there something I haven't noticed about their day or intentions? Practicing this approach consistently builds not just patience, but real emotional wisdom. Real-world examples show the power of this approach. A student who receives critical feedback may feel defeated at first, but, by looking for growth opportunities in the comments, can see the teacher's advice as helpful rather than personal attack. At home, when tensions rise, trying to see the day through a family member's eyes will often replace irritation with empathy or humor. The goal is not to let every frustration slide, but to recognize that each event holds more than one meaning. By giving yourself permission to step outside the automatic interpretation, you free yourself from needless emotional weight and empower yourself to act thoughtfully. A journey toward flexible perspective is a journey toward resilience, peace, and deeper connections. It doesn't happen overnight, but each small effort accumulates into a larger shift that transforms your daily life. Reflect often on your progress and acknowledge the times you've chosen a new way of seeing a challenge. Celebrate these moments because they are signs of your growing wisdom and strength. Remember that small shifts are enough. Even pausing for just one moment a day to question your first reaction is a step ahead. With practice, these moments multiply and your confidence in your ability to choose your response grows ever stronger. Get ready to build on this new foundation in Chapter 5, where you will discover how to master emotional energy shifts, nurturing the ability to rise above turbulence and bring balance to your moods and reactions. If this chapter has inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to Awaken Vision, leave a like, and share your insights or ideas for future topics in the comments. We value your journey and contributions as you continue to strengthen your perspective and shape your own joyful path forward. Chapter 5. Have you ever noticed how some days you wake up ready to take on anything, but other days even the smallest setback throws you off course? Emotions have a powerful way of influencing not only how you feel, but also how you think, behave, and interact with others. Sometimes, a wave of frustration after a bad commute can carry into your work, making you snappish with your coworkers. Or, when you're drained and anxious after a long week, even a small comment from a friend feels bigger and more hurtful than it really is. This constant shift in emotional energy can leave you feeling out of control, at the mercy of moods that come and go like the weather. It's important to recognize this pattern because many people lose valuable time and energy chasing after good moods or battling bad ones. When emotional energy isn't managed, it often spills into relationships and goals, shaping days in subtle and not so subtle ways. For example, imagine Elena, who loves her job most of the time but finds her patience collapsing into shortness every time her inbox overflows. She might beat herself up over this, feeling guilty for being irritable with her team, losing sight of how much she usually enjoys her work. Or consider Sam, a college student who wants to do well but finds his anxiety flaring before big tests. After a poor score, the feeling grows worse and soon spreads to other parts of his life, making him less motivated for things he normally enjoys. Both Elena and Sam experience what so many do. Their moods shift quickly, their energy drops, and suddenly their sense of control evaporates. The real challenge is that emotional energy is rarely constant, even for the most balanced person. Life brings a steady stream of unexpected events, big deadlines, tense conversations, celebrations, or even just a night of poor sleep. Those experiences trigger emotional responses that can be uplifting or draining, coloring everything that follows. What matters most isn't avoiding difficult emotions. That's not possible. But learning how to recognize, navigate, and ultimately shift them so they don't define your day or dictate your actions. This understanding is powerful, as it lays the foundation for living with intention and flexibility, rather than reacting on autopilot. By learning to master these shifts, you're not denying difficult feelings or forcing fake happiness. Instead, you gain the freedom to notice when you're being swept by strong emotions and decide whether to follow that wave or gently change course. With practice, it becomes possible to turn a morning of tension into an afternoon of calm, or a burst of discouragement into motivation to take action. The key is in spotting the signals early and remembering you have a say in which direction your energy flows. As you deepen this awareness, emotional ups and downs will stop feeling like something that happens to you and start becoming another arena where your self-leadership and growth shine. This shift unlocks resilience, peace, and a deeper joy, no matter what else is happening around you. To master emotional energy shifts, the first and most essential step is growing aware of what you feel in any given moment. Many people are so used to powering through or brushing aside uncomfortable emotions that they forget feelings are signals, not threats. When you pause to check in with yourself, simply noticing whether you are tense, tired, excited, or irritated, you immediately create space between your emotions and your actions. This moment of awareness pulls you out of autopilot, giving you a chance to choose what comes next, rather than defaulting to old habits. Psychologists have found that labeling your emotions, even silently, can reduce their intensity and help the rational part of your brain regain more control. This change in approach helps you respond thoughtfully, not just react instinctively. Once you recognize your emotional energy, the next piece involves regulating and gently directing it. The key is not to bottle up troubling feelings, but to allow them to exist while making small, intentional shifts. If you're anxious, for example, focus on slowing your breathing and grounding yourself by noticing physical sensations: your feet on the ground, your hands resting on a surface, the air moving in and out of your lungs. Simple physical actions anchor you to the present, ensuring emotions don't spin out beyond your control. If you feel weighed down by frustration, try moving your body. A quick walk, stretching, or even shaking out your arms can signal your mind that it's safe to reset. Studies in behavior science confirm that shifting your body's state, even for a minute, opens up new possibilities to shift your thoughts and feelings too. Equally important is introducing a kind, encouraging voice into your inner dialogue. Instead of berating yourself for feeling angry or sad, Use compassionate self-talk, the same way you might gently reassure a close friend. Over time, this practice helps you trust your capacity to ride out negative feelings and move toward a place of calm, hope, or motivation. When strong positive energy shows up, moments of inspiration, love, or enthusiasm, tune into these too, soaking them up and letting them recharge you just as fully. By noticing and nurturing your own helpful emotions, you actively train your mind and body to return to balance more easily the next time you are off course. The science behind this method rests both on emotional awareness and neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through new experiences and patterns. Evidence suggests that regularly checking in on and responding to your emotional energy can lower stress, support better decision-making, and increase everyday happiness. It might be tempting to believe that mood is set in stone, but with practice, anyone can build more stable and flexible energy throughout life's demands. Why does this matter so much? Because when you are the manager of your emotions, you become steadier in relationships, clearer in thinking, and far more capable of steady progress toward your goals. Ups and downs no longer control the direction of your day. Instead, they become signals guiding you toward what needs care or action now. The whole process is empowering, simple, and deeply effective in building a confident life, one where change is expected but chaos is optional. Over time, shifting your emotional energy becomes as natural as breathing and opens the path to a more resilient, joyful, and self-directed way of being. When you actively learn to manage and shift your emotional energy, the positive results spill into every part of your life. You'll discover greater stability throughout your days instead of being thrown off balance by sudden feelings or stressful events. This steadiness opens the door to clearer thinking, better decision-making, and increased patience even in high-pressure moments. Others will likely notice your calm presence and the way conflict tends to soften around you, making relationships less prone to drama and misunderstanding. Your work or studies no longer suffer from the wild highs and lows. Instead, your productivity and creativity get a steady foundation because you know how to reset and regenerate your focus. The most valuable outcome, however, is an elevated trust in yourself, knowing you are able to face life's turmoil without letting it define you, using every wave of emotion as guidance for growth or self-care, rather than a threat to happiness or success. To put these habits into practice, begin by integrating a simple check-in ritual each morning or before a demanding task. Ask yourself, what am I feeling and where do I notice this energy in my body? Let accuracy matter more than judgment. Every emotion, from excitement and hope to fatigue or tension, is simply information. The next step is to use a physical grounding exercise when emotions start running high. For example, focus your attention on your breathing for 1 full minute, or take a short walk after a difficult conversation. Follow this by saying something kind to yourself, such as, "This feeling is tough, but it's just a wave and it will pass." If your energy feels particularly low, make a conscious decision to nourish yourself with a cup of tea, a positive message to a friend, or a break that lets your mind and body reset. Writing in a journal about what triggered your emotions and how you responded is another great way to build self-awareness and notice patterns over time. These tools carry enormous value in a range of real-life situations. For instance, a parent can diffuse their own anger before responding to a child's mistake, transforming a potential conflict into an opportunity for understanding and teaching. A student anxious before exams can take a pause to acknowledge their fear, ground themselves for a few minutes, and channel nervous energy into careful review rather than panic. Someone under team pressure at work can step away, breathe mindfully, and return ready to collaborate with a clearer head and calmer tone, rather than escalate tension. In close relationships, sharing your emotional energy check-ins and personal strategies encourages trust and inspires others to adopt similar habits, building a nurturing environment for everyone involved. Success with these methods hinges not on making every day perfect, but on continuing to show up for yourself with honesty and kindness. It's the accumulation of small, steady efforts, checking in, grounding your body, and being patient through emotional waves that adds up to transformational change. Don't be discouraged if some days feel harder than others. Track your progress, not in terms of perfect moods, but in your willingness to pause and direct your energy toward what helps instead of what hurts. With every attempt, you foster strength, flexibility, and a renewed sense of possibility within yourself. As you continue your journey in emotional mastery, Chapter 6 will show you how to sustain this positive light and use it for ongoing personal growth and fulfillment. If you find practical value here, remember to subscribe to Awaken Vision, give the video a like, and share your experiences or suggestions in the comments below. Our community is here for learning, encouragement, and collective growth, and your voice is an important part of the inspiration and progress we all seek. Chapter 6. It's one thing to have a burst of motivation, but quite another to carry that spark forward through ordinary days, disappointments, and all the slow moments when nothing in particular seems to be happening. Most people know the feeling of insight or inspiration after reading a powerful story, making a promise to themselves, or achieving a short-term goal. Yet as days pass, that initial excitement often fades, slipping away under the stress of routines and new challenges. You may have felt this yourself. A sense of hope peaks, only to get buried by work, family needs, or unexpected setbacks. The puzzle is not in finding your light, but in keeping it burning, through both triumph and struggle, joy and tedium. This is so important because real growth, the kind that expands your sense of joy and purpose, needs consistency more than intensity. Everyone can shine for a brief moment, at the start of a new project, the beginning of a healthy habit, or the first time a goal is imagined. But the people who find lasting fulfillment and deep change are not those who never wobble. They are those who decide, time and again, to nurture their growth even when initial excitement has dimmed. This awareness surprises many. What stops most dreams is not lack of talent or passion, but difficulty maintaining progress once the rush of something new fades away. Imagine Rena, who finally starts daily journaling and meditation after years of planning to be more mindful. For a week, the habit gives her a sense of calm. Then work deadlines pile up, her mornings become rushed, and in her exhaustion, the new practice slips away. She feels guilt for letting it go and starts believing spiritual growth just isn't possible for her. Or consider Marcus, who commits to making small, meaningful changes in how he relates to his partner. He is attentive, patient, and grateful during the first few days, and his partner notices the difference. Yet stressful days return, arguments flare up, and Marcus finds his old habits taking over again. Doubt grows, and soon he wonders if people really can change. Both Rena and Marcus face the universal challenge, maintaining light and progress when life becomes repetitive, uncertain, or complicated. Understanding this pattern matters, because without it, you may waste years blaming yourself for a lack of self-discipline, or thinking you're not meant for happiness or growth. The truth is, everyone faces this drop in motivation and clarity. What makes the difference isn't avoiding setbacks, but learning how to reconnect with your reason for growing in the first place. Reminding yourself of your deeper values, planning for likely obstacles, and giving yourself permission to renew your effort on ordinary and difficult days. That is how light becomes self-sustaining. This is the spirit that transforms wishful moments into lasting change, and it places real, joyful growth within everyone's reach, no matter how many restarts are needed along the way. The key to maintaining your inner light amidst daily life is to create small, intentional routines that keep you connected with your purpose, even during periods of low motivation or disruption. The first important step is to set aside a special moment each day to remind yourself what matters most to you. This can be through journaling a simple sentence about your why, meditating briefly on your bigger goals, or even speaking a short affirmation in front of a mirror. When you revisit your intentions regularly, you keep your deeper values at the front of your mind, rather than letting them be buried by temporary stressors. Neuroscience shows that habits based on intention and reflection send strong signals to the brain, making it easier to hold on to your commitment over time. Next, anticipate that obstacles will arise. Instead of feeling blindsided or defeated when you fall off track, make realistic plans for how you'll respond. If you know late nights sap your energy for morning self-care, prepare an evening routine that calms you before bed. When social demands or emotional lows threaten your focus, choose a simple fallback habit: a short walk, 5 deep breaths, or reading one paragraph of inspiration to keep yourself engaged even if you can't manage your full routine. These flexible, forgiving rituals create gentle anchors in your schedule, making it much easier to return to your path after life's interruptions. It's equally crucial to acknowledge and celebrate small wins. Research in positive psychology finds that recognizing progress, no matter how subtle, builds motivation and resilience far more than perfection ever could. At the end of each day or week, look back on what you maintained or restarted, not just what you missed. Maybe you paused for reflection on a hectic day, offered a kind word to yourself after frustration, or made a conscious choice to rest when feeling burnt out. Over time, this habit of self-recognition helps to shift your focus from lapses, inevitable for everyone, to the persistence and courage that drive true personal growth. The benefit of this solution lies in its self-sustaining nature. Regular touchpoints with your inner values keep your goals emotionally charged and relevant, warding off the sense of meaninglessness that can come with routine. Anticipating setbacks and providing yourself with gentle on-ramps back to your practice fosters self-compassion, reducing guilt or shame that might otherwise tempt you to give up. Making celebration a daily habit ensures the journey feels rewarding at every stage, not just at the finish line. This ecosystem of habits is like tending a small flame. A gust of wind may threaten to snuff it out, but gentle, regular attention allows it to glow brighter and warmer each day. Ultimately, establishing systems that protect your light does not demand perfection. What matters is a patient, honest return to your intentions whenever you drift. These methods work because they're built on understanding how real growth is shaped, not all at once, but through the art of returning, renewing, and tending to your purpose gently and persistently over time. This approach unlocks not only consistent progress, but also the satisfaction and peace that come with knowing your journey is firmly in your own hands. By adopting these habits to sustain your inner light, you begin to experience genuine transformation in every part of your life. One of the most powerful outcomes is the steady rise of self-trust. Instead of questioning whether you have what it takes after every setback, you build quiet confidence through consistent actions, no matter how small. Motivation shifts from something that comes and goes unpredictably to a fire you know how to tend even during challenging times. You find yourself less reactive to disappointments, treating mistakes or missed days as natural parts of the journey instead of permanent failures. This steadiness greatly reduces guilt and frustration, making space for optimism and resilience. Relationships benefit too, as those around you notice your consistent energy and the way you handle both ups and downs with grace. Your work or studies grow more focused and purpose-driven, as your actions are increasingly in harmony with your values rather than just fleeting emotions or stress. Above all, you notice a deeper sense of fulfillment, a persistent joy that runs beneath the surface of daily life, ready to support and inspire you through any season. To weave these habits into your life, start by choosing a moment every day, morning, mid-afternoon, or evening, for intentional self-connection. Pause to remember your core reason for wanting growth, whether it's written in a journal, posted on your mirror, or reflected on while you enjoy a quiet cup of tea. Tiny rituals work well. Perhaps it's expressing one thing you're grateful for before bed, or setting a short intention when you wake. Next, normalize setbacks in your mind by preparing in advance for disruptions, with flexible versions of your grounding habit, like reading just a few lines from your favorite book on tough days, or practicing 2 minutes of mindful breathing. Keep a physical or digital log of completed habits, patterns observed during tough periods, and positive changes you notice, however small. This log is not for judgment, but for reflection and encouragement, a gentle record of your ability to return and try again, proving your resilience to yourself over time. Real-life scenarios highlight the power of these habits. Imagine a busy parent determined to spend more present time with their children. Even after exhausting days, they pause 5 minutes for play or conversation, letting their intention, nurturing connection, anchor every action. If they occasionally miss a day, instead of giving up, they gently restart, knowing the benefit comes from continual return. Or think of the student who, after a tough exam or an unproductive week, reviews what still went well, acknowledges effort given, and renews their commitment with small, manageable goals for tomorrow. In a workplace, an individual under pressure relies on small habit loops, like taking stretch breaks, expressing gratitude to a coworker, or aligning each day with their long-term vision to keep motivation strong, even in stressful times. Relationships also improve as people see the sincerity and steadiness of your energy and approach, inspiring trust and deeper bonds. Success is built from consistent, patient effort, not from dramatic leaps or all-or-nothing thinking. Celebrate every moment you return to your intention, no matter how imperfect your week may seem. Reflect on how far you've come, and allow the memory of every small victory to encourage you forward. Growth is not only about dramatic turning points. More often, it's fed quietly, one mindful choice at a time. The journey of sustaining your light is one of self-respect and continual renewal. You are always allowed to begin again, as many times as you need. Each new effort brings you more strength, wisdom, and joy. Let your persistence become your superpower, showing yourself and those around you what determined, gentle growth really looks like. Carry this spirit forward as you face new goals and open chapters. May your light never fade, but only grow clearer with time. As you reflect on the journey through this book, remember that emotional growth is not about perfection, but about steady, compassionate progress. Together, we explored the power of igniting your inner flame, rewiring your thoughts for positivity, and nurturing resilience and gratitude in daily life. You have learned to shift perspectives, manage emotional energy, and sustain your light, building a foundation for long-term fulfillment. Every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to lasting joy and personal transformation. Thank you for dedicating your time to your own growth by engaging with these stories and strategies. If this journey has inspired or helped you, please remember to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more guidance and community. Your growth lights the way for others. Keep going and stay connected with Awaken Vision.